Join me in my travels as I head down south and visit multiple antique malls looking for baseball cards and other relics of the past. First place I stopped at was called Snoopers Antique Mall in Virginia. Pretty big place, lots of antiques and collectibles inside of here. As you see, there's some non-sport packs there, Mad Magazine, and some other ones. And then I found baseball cards shortly after. There was a 25-cent box. I kind of sifted through a little bit, but didn't really see anything too promising. Right across from that, found some more singles, baseball and football, and also some random packs. The Legends set and also archives. Not really anything that caught my eye on there in particular, but they had some pretty cool stuff at this booth. You see the Masters of the Universe carrying case is pretty sweet, and a $91 box for $28, I believe. Some early 90s Pacific football, and good old 90 Tops rears its head once again. We got some rack packs there. I believe those were like $2 a piece. Some 88 Tops racks, and then some junk wax era sets. Nothing that I really had too much of an interest in. Looking around some more, I stumbled across this Macaulay Culkin talking figure that I had never seen before. I think it was $20. Thought that was pretty funny, from Home Alone 2. And Land of the Lost. Used to love these figures in the early 90s. I loved the show that aired on Saturday mornings. Police Academy, was a big fan of that toy line made by Kenner. So there's definitely some cool figures in here, but nothing that I really wanted from my personal collection. Last Action Hero, one of my favorite movies. I think a very underrated movie overall. There is Snake Mountain, the original one. And we had some random football Christmas rack packs there for $20 each from the 70s. The last booth I checked out then was full of autographed memorabilia, complete with COAs. See Dan Marino there, and just a bunch of legendary athletes. It was pretty awesome to see these. Not something I typically would buy or collect, but very cool to see all of those together in person. And you even see some television stars, and ended with Stan the Man Musial autograph. Pretty awesome. Looked around a little bit more, decided it was time to get out of there, and there just happened to be an antique mall literally right next door to this place called Old Ford Antique Mall. Bunch of collectibles in there. First thing I saw was Elvis Presley wax box, and then some random set. Those didn't look familiar to me. Came across these random, I think, Happy Meal toys with DuckTales spelled wrong. Thought that was pretty humorous. Had to share that with you guys. And then, of course, did find cards there randomly. A lot of mixture, newer stuff, modern, a little bit of old stuff mixed in there, but didn't really see any baseball right off the bat. And then I came across a few showcases down, some PSA 10s. Have a Mike Trout there, LeBron James, and some other pretty big names. This person actually had a fair amount of cards, and a random box of 82 Tops. Those were actually saran wrapped. And I'm like, maybe there's a Ripken rookie in there. Probably not. You see a Nolan Ryan League Leaders card. That was a pretty cool one. Not too bad of a deal there. Some random 82 Tops scattered around, also in the showcase. And then a little bit down in this place, we had another big showcase full of a lot of nice cards. You see a Nolan Ryan slab in there. But the prices on these ones, pretty freaking high. There was a 93 Tops wax box. I couldn't tell what the price on that was. It just said something about a Derek Jeter PSA 10 being like over $1,000. But I didn't see a price in the box. But everything seemed to be like at comps or above comps. And there weren't any like rookies that I was looking for. But definitely a nice selection overall. I think there's a Randy Johnson 89 Upper Deck. I think that was like, I forget how much that was. But definitely some decent cards in this booth. And then down below, they had some other random memorabilia. Mickey Mantle, that's like a replica autograph ball. Random Pro Set wax box. That was pretty cool. $88 rack pack with Roberto Alomar on top. An 88 traded set and some other random stuff located in there. I had to zoom in on that. Tom Selleck, 92 Upper Deck, short print. Loved that card. Then I came across a Hills set for $7. I thought that was pretty cool. Went down the road to Runner's Antique Malls, about 15 minutes away from the other place. Looked around in there. Found cards again. Nothing really that I was too interested in. We had some more modern here in the showcase. Some random Tiffany cards from 89 Tops that were graded. Just not really anything that jumped out at me, but of course I'm filming this to share with you guys in case you're in the area or on vacation or whatever else and you want to stop at these places if you see anything you like. They also had Pokemon there, and there's not a huge selection at this place, but some cool things hidden out. An Alf lunchbox, had to showcase that. And here's something I just bought recently, a Gargoyles lunchbox. I've never seen this before. Bought it at an antique mall near me. Came across it again randomly. A Pound Puppy's lunchbox. Took off from there, encountered some horrible weather conditions for probably a couple hours. Stopped off at this antique store. I think might have been in North Carolina. Could be wrong, but I forget the name of it. A bunch of collectibles in there. The main booth I focused on had lots of stuff that was up my alley. You see 70s, 80s, 90s Hall of Famers for baseball. I think those were $1 each. They had a bunch of loose action figures. G.I. Joe, of course. The G.I. Joe video is coming. Do not fret. It's something I've never seen in the wild ever. Cops and Crooks figures. I used to love Cops and Crooks as a kid. I have the whole toy line now. And some one of those vending machine refills, or I guess display pieces. The marquee, that was pretty awesome to see that. You don't see those too often either. But just lots of cool pop culture stuff crammed into this booth. And then I saw these, and I had never come across these before, these poster cards. They were from the early 90s, and I thought this was pretty cool, and I was very, very tempted to buy some of these. From 1991, these are Series 1, a big checklist, a lot of cringe-worthy names in there, but I'm like, that's pretty neat. I thought that was a pretty cool concept. I don't think that they really ever caught on back then, but you could probably buy a big bulk, a lot of those off eBay for next to nothing. So I'm going to give you a little tour of the rest of this booth. They had some cool stuff. You see Dino Riders lunchbox. Not too often I come across Dino Riders merchandise in the wild. And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade puzzle. I think that was like closer to $30. So some of the stuff was close to comps. Vintage Beckett's. I think these were a few bucks a piece. I love me some vintage Beckett's. I have a ton of them. I need to go back through and see which ones I even have and make a checklist. Always love seeing those. And of course, who doesn't love seeing bags of random junk wax cards for over $20? 90 on Rust, 89 tops is crammed into a bag. So left there, went to another place, Lost in Time Antique Mall. I heard good things about this place. I heard that they have baseball cards and just a lot of stuff that's up my alley. First thing I saw when I walked in was this sweet Happy Meal McDonald's marquee display. I thought that was freaking awesome for Michael Jordan. But I think it was close to $100, $80, something like that. Just not something I really needed that bad. Then I came across some vintage baseball memorabilia here. This is pretty cool seeing those, and even some 69 tops. Look at that, Reggie Jackson. That Reggie Jackson was like $120, I think. But it looked like it might have been trimmed. Second year Johnny Bench also there. This was a highlight of my trip. An empty Desert Storm pack wrapper for $30. A Kmart sign was awesome to see that. I wanted to buy it really bad, but I think it was like $80. And then I came across a bunch of cool old novelty items. Pepsi Light. I don't think I was alive when Pepsi Light was around, but those are paper cups. I don't know if you swish your mouth with Pepsi Light before you go to bed if you brush your teeth, but they had so many cool older items like this. It was very tempting to not buy them. They're only a few bucks a piece, too. Just stuff that's just lost in time forever, literally. 6-pack of Fresca, Pepsi Light 6-pack box. Just all kinds of cool stuff. Another Happy Meal display piece. Always been intrigued by those. And then randomly in the back I came across an old vending machine that still has old candy in it. Now, it's crazy. If you look at some of these old candy on eBay, they go for a pretty penny. Small fortune. Came across a showcase that had some other sports memorabilia inside of it. Some novelty items there. An RC Cola clock. Who doesn't want that for their house? And this hallway inside of here just had a bunch of different signs and things like that. It was pretty awesome. They weren't very polite to me in there, so I left and went to Antiques and Geeks in North Carolina. This place was advertising baseball cards, toys, stuff that we all love. And as soon as you walk in, you see a bunch of it. I sifted through some boxes here. I think these were $1. And you can kind of get a feel for how people price their cards just by going through this, for instance, when you walk in. And if you see a bunch of commons in there, it's like, all right, you kind of get a feel for, their price range and stuff. And then they had a bunch of random boxes sitting here. I'm like, well, if they're putting common cards and top loaders for $1, then they're probably not going to put anything good in that $30 box of random. Ton of comics in here. As you can see, in that shot, and then this booth had a bunch of mostly like repro stuff, newer Turtles released in the last few years. There were some vintage things thrown in there, like this G.I. Joe carrying case. That was pretty cool, the collector's case. I think that was, it wasn't too expensive. It was like $10 or something like that, which is a decent price. But the Turtles novelty stuff was pretty good here too. An original Bucky O'Hare figure, I think that was about $50. So it's kind of priced at comps. But there's a lot of newer stuff there, like this Slimer and Stay Puffed, and then the No Ghost logo plushies. Another booth inside of here had a bunch of non-sports stuff. I know there's a lot of collectors of this kind of thing that watch my videos, so I wanted to showcase that for you. Dinosaurs Attack and Baseball's Greatest Gross Outs. Used to love those cards as a kid. I used to buy a wax box of those for like $5. Supernaturals. How often do you see those in the wild? I don't really see them ever. And then Willow figures. Still never seen the movie Willow all these years later. Simpsons Bubblegum. Never knew that was a thing. That was pretty cool to see that randomly. And then I came across another booth that had just all kinds of cards. So I wanted to showcase this for you guys. Show you what was in the showcase. I did go through some of these boxes and just didn't really see anything that I thought was, a good deal or cards that I really needed for my PC. So I didn't pick up anything from this booth, but I just wanted to show it with you guys in case any of you are in the area want to stop and see some cards that you like and grab them up. Dave Justice 90 Leaf rookie card in there. See a Tony 184 Fleer, Carlton 69 Tops, 76 Bradshaw. There's a Canseco 86 traded. And then right across from that, got a bunch of showcases with a lot of pop culture stuff that we all love. Transformers, Rambo. All kinds of goodies in here. This is pretty awesome to see these. And I've never seen that before, so that was pretty freaking awesome. GoBots. I'm sure a lot of you guys had those when you were kids. There's a lot of really neat stuff to be seen in here. I was definitely blown away by it. And then some more cards. This guy's booth, a little on the sloppy side. I kind of sifted through some things to see what was in there, what kind of price points there were. And a little bit of a mess. Didn't really see anything that I liked, but I did love this card vending machine. This thing was so freaking awesome. It has the original display of the cards, but I didn't see a price tag on it. I'd never seen that Grand Slam thing before. Very disheveled, as you can see here. A bunch of like homemade grab bags, just judging on what I had seen already. Wasn't really too interested in picking up any of those. And then down below, there's a laundry basket of random packs, but I think they're just wrappers. I think somebody had opened them and just haphazardly tossed the cards right back inside of the laundry basket. So that was definitely an interesting sight. And then looking around some more, bunch more comics, modern figures. There's a lot to look at. A very sweet Ace Ventura banner for When Nature Calls, and there's an entire freaking upstairs. And so I had to go up there and check it out, and just a lot more toys. And even found some more cards up here. So we got some G.I. Joe figures. I was stoked to see Gargoyles figures just because it's not something I see all the time. The prices of those have really gone up in recent years based on what they're marked at in the store. I was blown away by that. A lot of those used to be 15 or 20 bucks. And we got some old Beckett's. I remember getting that Jackie Robinson Beckett when it came out. Same with the Greg Maddox Beckett. Used to get those every month, not every month, but every few months. And then I came across a giant stash of wax hidden upstairs. There was a whole card shop up there. A lot of junk wax era stuff. I think these were like $1 a pack, but they had some decent ones with some possibility to pull some rare autos out of those. Topps Big. A lot of those were $1 a pack. And then on my way out, I saw a Dig Dug arcade game. My brother and I used to love that game and play it all the time for NES. Left there, went down the road to a place called Flea Marketers. I happened to be driving by and just saw this. I was like, we got to stop in there. Walked around for a little bit and came across cards. Just didn't have a hard time finding cards on this trip at all whatsoever, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I came across a box that had a bunch of random vintage. This guy had like $5 boxes, dollar boxes. Just trying to find some things I needed for my personal collection. Some random sets, and then he had all these boxes divided up by player. So I looked around through those. But he definitely had a nice selection. This is the same guy that owns the store. This is his booth there. He's got a lot of cards. Let's talk to him for a minute while I was in there. Some random sets, top loaders. And I walked around a little bit more, found some even more cards. There's a Johnny Damon 94 SP second year. And a bunch of screw down cases. Love to see those. But nothing really priced accordingly, in my opinion at least. Some vintage 62s there, some 59s randomly. Looked around a little bit more, decided there was not really anything in that booth for me, and decided to continue on my way down to South Carolina, which will be shown in a different video. And I found some pretty cool stuff down there, so stay tuned for that video tomorrow night. Thank you guys all for watching.